Miniatures. They are the cornerstone of our hobby. Look, here's a Tau from Warhammer 40,000. And here, a giant spider from Epic Encounters. Both of these minis can be bought in your local hobby store or online. But what if you are looking for something fresh and different? With 3D printing becoming more mainstream and commercially available, I'd like to take a look at what is available off the beaten track for the budding painter and tabletop RPG player. Welcome to Tantrums and Tabletops. My name's Tom, and today we're going to look at Loot Studios and what they have on offer for the month of August in the Fantasy subscription package. Let's get to it. So, we are on the My Loot section of Loot Studios. I've had the Fantasy subscription now for 3 months. This month is Chaos in Haydale. Let's check it out. We have the Heroes section first. They have Dorothea Fawn. I always enjoy it when they put a D20 next to the figure. It gives a really good idea of the size and the details that you can get out of it. I'm going to pronounce this guy as Brilliante. He is he looks like a cavalryman. We have Sir Anton the Dauntless, again, D20 for size reference. And Caesar Chortle. Could he be Spanish? I'm not sure. We're going to have a look at the enemies. You always seem to get more enemies than you do heroes because Dungeons and Dragons, this is what it's aimed at. So you want more enemies on the field. The Dungeon Master always wants more enemies. Personally, at the moment, I've only just started playing Dungeons and Dragons. I love the miniatures and I love 3D printing. So being able to sign up to something like Loot Studios is fantastic for miniature collectors. And it also means I can help any DMs that I work with and go, well, I have this on offer. So today in enemies, we have the Wicker Man. Looks like it could be quite big, that one. There's plenty of detail in the chest. Very spiky. That's got to be a large print as that. We're on to Gron the Grand, another standard size miniature. Now we are Yasha and Yavo, the Flamebinders. Looks like it's a twin kind of situation, dual head kind of troll. Very cool. We have a Doglin, another small miniature. I've not actually read the the monster manual from Dungeons and Dragons out of not wanting to spoil the game for me. So if I'm pronouncing some of these names wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments. Now we're on Fire Striker, very pretty looking goblin there. A brutal Sturge, looks like a 4-winged beast. Very cool. Vicious Butcher. Nice. Get some nice hand-to-hand combat going there. Shadowbinder. Looks like this would be a wizard type character. Magic spells, all that. Bugbear Skirmisher. Another brute going on the field with twin swords to hack you down. A Bugbear Champion. That's a nice size. Very detailed. You see all the details in the face. Very cool. A Battle Herald. Imagine any Dungeon Master screaming out war cries and "You will die" from this character. You know, "Your name is written in script. It is written by the gods. Your time is at nigh." Any decent Dungeon Master will be able to pull off a character such as that. And finally, we have a Crow Chaser Golem. Nice detail with, he's got a bale of hay. And it looks like he was trying to disguise himself as a scarecrow. I like that figure. That is a very cool figure. Not only do Loot Studios give you figures each month, but they also give you environments to work with. So here we have an old mill. Now these would be better for FDM printing. It depends if you have a printer that can handle something as big as that. I can't imagine that being small. A village house. Several, looks like you've got second village house. This is like an L shape, and then you just have a straight normal shape. An old village house. A water wheel. These first 5 should all be FDM printed, unless you have a resin printer big enough to house it. But it would be a lot of resin wasted, and hollowing out resin that thin to make it work, it'd be very heavy. You could make the infill on an FDM printer much smaller. You could reduce it to 10%, make it very lightweight, cut your materials down quite well. When you get into the smaller things like the firewood pile here, this is ideal for resin printing because you get all this lovely detail in and the rope going across that maybe an FDM printer would struggle with. A lean-to, good place for storage. That I would say resin print that, because if you flip it upside down in your slicer and print it that way, you could cut out a lot of weight. That would be interesting. Stone chimney, you could definitely get that level of detail with an FDM printer. That wouldn't be a problem, I can't see. Wheat stack, another resin print again. Wheelbarrow, definitely resin print. Old wagon, I'd say resin print that. Now we're on to fences. Bit of scatter terrain for the board, always welcome. I would FDM print that. Quite big. You'd still be able to get this wooden detail in there, because you don't want to waste your resin, like I've said before. Wooden chest, definitely resin print. Same with a hay bale, haystack. We have, and now we've scrolled down, seen they've done FDM supported models for Village House 2, Village House, Old Village House, and the Old Mill. So they've thought ahead, given us the FDM files for it, which is fantastic. Next, if you fancy something a bit bigger, you could print yourself a helmet. This is the Dauntless helmet. I'm sure if you scaled it right, if you got yourself a set of calipers, you could scale it correct to your head. If you've got a helmet class printer, 320 by 320 by probably 320 would be your best bet. Any of the Elegoo Plus models or Elegoo Max models would be ideal for that. Otherwise you'd have to possibly print it in 2 halves on a smaller bed plate. This again comes as an FDM supported file. Fantastic. Now we have some of the heroes and enemies but in bust form, so slightly larger, more details on it. Ben, Simon, they could do a lot good with this. Even my wife would be able to do a better job with this than I would be. This would be really for the detailed, skilled painter. We have Dorothea Thorn bust. We have a Gron the Grand bust. Lovely detail. You can see the chainmail here underneath. Oh, is that plate armor? Would that be plate armor or chainmail? I don't know. I'm not a historian. I'm not a specialist in weaponry or armor. Please correct me in the comments down below. We have Caesar Chortle once again. Definitely a swashbuckling style character. You'd be able to get some really nice leather effects going on the glove that he's using here and here with the sword. You'd be able to do some excellent work on that. Finally, Sir Anton with his, I'm going to say that's a pike that he's carrying. These would be quite nice and big. A good experiment with these would be to see if you could hollow the print out if you're resin printing it. It's a dangerous job to do, because if you hollow it out and you don't put drainage holes in it, you've got uncured resin inside. You've got to be able to get UV light to it and fully cure it, otherwise down the line it'll split. This is why I choose to make my busts full, like 100% infill. It's heavier, it uses a lot more material, but you don't risk it becoming a hazardous waste item 6 months down the line when it cracks. And of course, you get a base for your busts, a fantasy base bust. That would be good FDM printed, very good. That is what they have on offer this month. Not only do they give you all these figures, but if we scroll down, we have the lore for each character. Here you have a magazine that you can download, and you have your stat blocks for all your DMs. So if your DM comes to you and you have this figure, you can go, I could get you the stat block for that as well, mate. It's very good. This month's bundle comes with 4 heroes, 12 enemies, 16 environment pieces, 4 busts and 1 prop. This old prop being the helmet, which is very cool. Now it's all well and good staring at a web page, but do these miniatures actually look good in real life? Well, you're in luck, as I've printed off a hero and a villain from this set, so let's have a look at them. So here is one of the first mini I printed off, which would be one of the Bugbear Warriors. As you can see, the level of detail, very crisp. And I'm using an older printer. I'm using a Saturn 8K. It's quite an old printer now, but the results speak for themselves. Now I will warn you that 3D printing is not 100% given in any aspect, no matter how many times you may have printed something. Me personally, I've been printing now for around 18 months. Many trials and tribulations along the way. For example, here you can see the axe, where the colour is brighter is where the material is thinner, where it's kind of delaminated along the way. So all the detail is there, nice and crisp. The wrappings on his legs, tatters on his tunic, the details on his belt. Everything is there that you need. Loot Studios do know what they're doing with their modelling. The guys who design this stuff are truly talented. And now we are onto our mounted hero, Brilliante, on his horse. Lovely crisp detail once again. Lovely detail on the beard. Detail on the wheel on the side of on the rear end of the horse. The armour around the horse's body. Pride all the armour on the horse's neck or mane. I'm not a horse person. The detail in the armour on the knight himself. Now once again I did have a little bit of a failure here. Top of Brilliante's pike didn't print. It's not 100%, but the great thing is these miniatures don't, in cost of material, don't cost that much to print. It's just having the knowledge to fix it. I used my own settings for this. My own settings tend to get me the best results. Like I say, don't always work. Loot Studios do provide pre-supported files, so you can just drop it into your slicer and print straight away. It is one of the drawbacks of the hobby. You will encounter failure even if you've been printing for a while. Well, that's what Loot Studios has to offer this month. Chaos in Haydale. What do you guys think? Do you want to see more content like this in the future? Would you consider subscribing to Loot Studios? Leave us a comment down below. As always, if you enjoy what we do here at Tantrums and Tabletops, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. It really does help us out. We're on a slow march to 500 and we have much more content to show you. See you next time.